I can't wait any longer.
Let's go.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide?
Damn, we need to make this thing even.
I can't believe it's you. Don't tell anyone. I'm not ready for this. Don't tell anyone. Thank you.
Hello and welcome all you Breen Weavers. I'm your host, Neil Knight, and I'm here now to double down on a twisted pair as this is our second episode of My Scene with Breen. I am hoping this episode will be a pleasant pass-through for us all, with no tortured crossing in sight, and together we may discover some fateful findings. Not sure if all of that worked, but the architect turned independent filmmaker Neil Breen is so clouded in a mystery of his own making that this podcast has been created to glean precious nuggets of information about his work, his process and his life. This episode my guest will be Nicole Butler, who appeared in Breen's most recent film Cade the Tortured Crossing as Dr. Megan Kurtz. For those of you who've seen Cade, you'll know that Butler joins past female leads such as Sarah Merritt, Kathy Corpus and Joy Seng as the most recent BREEN Girl. As we will with all guests, we talked about both pre- and post-Breen life, but Nicole also chatted about working with such heavy green screen, filming love scenes and what she thinks about the YouTube critics' red letter media. I think you'll find Nicole's passion and dedication for movie making really shines through, along with her gratitude to Neil Breen. Like him, she's a tireless hard worker, not shy to muck in and get her hands dirty, and as well as this, she was also a delight to talk to. Before you worked with Neil Breen, now you were acting before this. Where were you before being in Cade?
I was a cop in North Las Vegas. I'm a military vet. I was in the military, deployed to Saudi Arabia. I've been raising a family for 26 years, 3 boys. And then I did a lot of community connection with nonprofits. And then I put something together like this fall festival, and a lot of people, I like stuff that I can have a team and then put something together. But my passion to start showbiz had to do with nonprofits and connecting to more people. A lot of people always need resources. I just didn't realize how hard it was to build that platform.
And how was it a casting call you answered, or how did that audition process go?
Something and showed interest, and then he wanted a headshot and meet me in person, because even with people's headshots or reels, energy doesn't lie. Cast chemistry, all that. But I didn't get the whole circumstance when I was talking to him. I understand more the dynamics now, further into film, than I did when I started connecting with him. And I liked his studio. It was safe. It was clean. It was all green screen. They call it, is it Breen?
Breen screen, yes.
Breen screen. So I know he worked really hard. He has a lot of passion. And he's been in it a while. I don't know if he's ever been in any other movies. I kind of looked him up on his IMDb, but I couldn't appreciate all the work he did when I was going through it because I was too new. I'm like, okay, I wasn't there. And I'm getting there. I'm not quite there, but I understand now the dynamics of what he was doing. I mean, he had to lock down his locations. He did the crafty. He did all the paperwork. He did all the casting. That's why he has his name on everything.
So how did you approach? So this was Megan Kurtz, Dr. Megan Kurtz, you played in Cade. How did you approach the role then?
Well, he's very secretive with the scripts, so I didn't really have an idea until right there and then. And I still didn't have an idea because he wanted it very secret. He didn't want anything to leak out, no taking pictures. Because I like social media. I don't know if you saw mine, but I love taking pictures. I like sharing, and that was very hard, that was a very challenge for me. He's like, Nicole, don't tell anybody where you're going. Tell me you're volunteering somewhere. I was like, but I'm not. I'm here on this set that I want to share and take all these pictures. But he did take pictures behind the scenes. So I wonder if he'll release some of the behind the scenes footage. I don't think he has.
Because I am quite interested, because obviously, you talk about this secretive side to the filming. Where do you think that comes from? What do you think? Why do you think Neil Breen has that?
Because people take other people's ideas, and I didn't realize I've had people give other people's scripts to me that weren't even theirs. So that's where it is. People will leak things, and I didn't realize he had a cult following. He's like, I have a cult. I'm like, I had no idea. Like, sure you do, because I was too new and too unskilled and uneducated. I did like the role. It was challenging only because I didn't know where I was walking into. I was surprised. Like, where am I walking? What am I doing? What's happening here? I'm like, but I wasn't alone in not knowing. There's a whole cast not knowing too with me. So I was like, oh good, we're in this together.
Seeing as you bring up the green screen, was it restrictive? Did you find it, it affects the flow of a scene? You're doing line by line, even little things like, you've got no set to interact with, no door to walk through. Did you find that restrictive as an actress?
Well, I couldn't compare it because I've never done green screen before. So that was my so far only experience I've had so far with completely green screen film. But I mean, he taught fighting tactics. I did have a dark hair wig on, to disguise myself as a mental patient as well as being a doctor, and we did some kind of sequence dance. We came up with that pretty quick too, actually.
Of course, that is you in the dance sequence with the dark wig. Am I right to say, is that a dream sequence? Are we to take that as a dream sequence?
That's a Neil Breen question. That's actually his vision. I don't know. He just wanted it, and we're like, all right. And the one at the very end, she was the other doctor. The one that has the short hair, she was the one with the long hair. You know that long hair that she pulled down?
Yeah.
The frisky one.
Yeah.
Wanted to go to a bedroom, and I was like, no. In real life, I'd be like that too. No. So she kind of we all added our steps, but made it easy that we can do counts because most of us didn't do any of that kind of stuff ever before. So some areas were kind of challenging with the green screen, like maybe going up the steps. You know how you had that really pretty staircase and stuff like that. Not everything, it's hard. So I would love for him to release what it looked like, that staircase that we actually went up. So it would be kind of cool just to people to see what a difference it was, and for him to put that movie magic in, even though people, and the sizing, the proportion. I saw was it The Best of the Worst?
That's Red Letter Media, isn't it? Yes.
And they were trying to depict things. Sometimes they hit the nail on the head, and other times they were way off. I was like, that is way, 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 way off of whatever they thought it was going on. He did his best. I feel he did, because he was trying to size things up. So if people say it was disproportion, imagine if he didn't really try.
When you see things like, so obviously, I've seen the Red Letter Media video, and I'm aware that there's a certain amount of a mockery in that video. How do you respond to that, as because this is a project you've been involved in?
Well, I don't know what their background is to ever making a feature film. Maybe they're just critics and they've never stepped foot on a set, and they don't even know what it's like to make an independent film. So I give him a lot of props. He went on his own, did his own funding. He did it on his own. That's insane. So I give him props for stepping up and doing it on his own. Does it work all the time? Probably. It'd be easier for him to get the help, but at the same time, if he's not trusting people or maybe had bad experiences, maybe it is best for him just to continue how he's doing, because he's not doing bad. I mean, he's making feature films, and he did do it all on his own. So people need to recognize that he really, the credit where it's due, because that's not easy. It's an independent film. It's a feature film. It's not a short film. And he got everybody together, and he got all the locations and the crafty. And I guess he has the same crafty on every set, because I had people reach out to me like, Nicole, did you eat this? I'm like, yeah, how would you know that? I
do know back at the start of his film career, the craft services were platters of sandwiches. Have these upgraded now we're 6 films in?
I don't know. I think that hits the spot when people are hungry. So actually, I came out, I saw the other stuff that he had on his set. I don't know how much I can go into detail, but I was like, where'd you get this? This is actually a good deal. I'm going to take this idea with the packaged meats. I was like, how did you get this? But I didn't realize in his other films with the women he was co-starred with, risky. I'm gonna call it risky. I'm not risky.
Yeah,
Risky?
I think, Nicole, you can think yourself lucky that you were allowed to wear a bra in this film, because previous what we call BREEN girls, like Bond girls, but BREEN girls haven't.
Label the BREEN Girl. Sorry, I
You
just
were,
like
you know.
I didn't know. I didn't watch any of his films before. I had no idea where he came from and how he started and kind of the things that he does. But for the girls, I don't do that stuff. So he would have to find a different one. I'm not. So that kiss was the first and only kiss thing I've ever done in anything.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously you do a romance scene, a romantic scene with Neil Breen, who is, I'm guessing, 2, if not 3 decades older than you. I'm presuming. Was that scene? How did you come? How did you block that scene? Did you workshop it at all, or?
Well, he was very like he kind of brought it up to me like, what? What's this? What's happening here? Because opposite of everything, okay? But he was very respectful and he did block it out and he made sure nobody else was around, just the camera guy, the PA woman. Well, she wasn't really a PA woman. She was there though, helping with the lines, because last minute kind of stuff. And it's closed mouth because that would be me. That'd have to be then the other doctor with the long flowy hair. She would have gone for it. She probably would have went all in. She probably would have wrapped him up in her hair, held him hostage. But for me, that was my first and only time. So for someone that is the opposite, and yeah, you're a talent, you're an actor, but I was very new. And I was like, oh no, can I do it? I hope, whatever he redirected, I wanted to capture it, but not to the point where from what the other women on the other sets did. I usually would slap someone that tried to kiss me, smack hard, but it was really cool for him to give me my first experience. I think some of my co-workers that were on the set got a little jealous. I had some guys like, ooh, ooh, I was like,
Although you say that your character Megan, wouldn't have, you would be respectful. However, in the scene towards the start, when you obviously you go to his mansion and your work colleague goes up the stairs and you're saying no, you shouldn't be doing that. When we then cut, of course, to the morning, you are not there and your work colleague's not there. So where did Megan and her co-director go?
That's a good question. That should a Neil Breen answer. I don't know where I went. I don't know where I went. It's a big mansion. I don't know. Maybe I got a comfy bed. I got lucky.
Again, going back to the blocking, how much do you get? A lot of rehearsal time? Do you get any rehearsal time before you get on set, or is it just when you get on set?
So for the scripts and stuff like that, I didn't know anything until like it was handed to me. You need to know these lines right now. So I went over it verbatim, however he wanted it set up. And then it was done that way. And if he needed adjustment, he just reset and did it again to whatever his vision was, because he's the director. So it's his vision. It would have helped though, and I did get to see a little bit behind the camera, like what am I walking into? Where am I going? What's happening? But for the most part, I get why he wanted to be secretive, because he didn't want anything leaked out. Because he does have a huge cult following, like a huge one. Like, what's happening here? I had all these people messaging me, or if I was on another movie set, they came up to me, he goes, you didn't tell me you were in a Neil Breen movie. I was like, what do you mean? I had to tell everybody? Like, I had a lot of people like you. Oh my gosh, what was it like? I mean, they were like coming at me. I was like, what? I didn't prepare for that. They sneak up on you too. Like, there's been places like, or message me and they're like, hey, oh yeah, I look at you so much better now because you were in a Neil Breen. I'm like, so no looks before, no cares.
And how did you find Neil as a director? Does he come, very fully prepared? He knows what he wants.
He knows what he wants. Yeah, he's fully prepared, very professional, very easygoing in the aspect of making sure that we're in a safe environment and we're taken care of. I think he's learning too, because you're always learning as a filmmaker. I don't know if this was his biggest film with as many cast. He had a lot of cast members. That's a lot of work, making sure you show up and everybody else shows up and they're doing their work and keeping it secret. How do you keep things secret in film? I was like, I had to sign something, secrecy, but I like his storyline. I do like his storyline. I thought it was great with the gene mutations, and the one doctor was bad, and I'm glad I got to play the good doctor, and we got a fighting scene. We had a fighting scene that we had to choreograph. So when, she's pulling the hair, I'm doing the work. We had to be careful, because it's scary. I don't really want to get hurt or anything like that. So we did rehearse a little bit on that. But
and did you choreograph that yourself, or did Neil take control of that?
Well, he agreed to what I was coming up with because I had to feel comfortable. Because if he's like, "Oh, do this," and we didn't have the training that we could get hurt. Nobody wants anybody to get hurt on their sets, because then that wouldn't be any fun. But no, we did most of the. He did the rest of his own though, like his fighting into action, and it looks like some of the mental patients were fighting each other, like literally fighting each other. I think, I don't know. I have to rewatch it. So, Neil, would you like to be part of Neil Breen's film? Is that something you would ever want to be part of?
If he ever needs an English balding man in his mid 40s, I would be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and you can wear wigs. He likes when people wear wigs.
That's true. Well, I could wear your wig, that lovely dark wig you had on. Yeah, if he wants a gangster, a kind of, a British gangster or something like that, I would be there in a heartbeat.
Oh, good. See, so when you put this out there, he'll know. I'm sure he'll
I'll wait for the call. I'll wait for the call.
Yeah, Nicole Vegas tells all. I didn't tell all. I told some.
If you're enjoying this podcast, then why not follow Bite My Thumb on Twitch? I stream 3 times a week with a variety of fun, silly and geeky content. On Mondays, half human, half squid man and star of stage and screen Terence Hampshire hosts the greatest pop culture game show on the internet, Squid Games. Wednesdays see the YouTuber Dan Does co-host the 80s horror film review show, A Journey Through Darkness. And Saturday brings a retro film and TV watch along. It's all live and interactive, where you can chat along and join in. And if Dungeons & Dragons is your thing, please go to your preferred podcast provider and download and subscribe to Dungeons and Dickheads, where 3 idiots test the limits of their dungeon master's patience with their ineptitude. I'll be there as Ron San Diego Bentos, the wizard cum buffoon who has been known to test the toxicity of liquid by dipping his genitalia into it. And there's also Porky, the socialist dwarf, and Tok, the sticky-fingered tiefling. Just search for Dungeons and Dickheads. When it comes to you as an actress, how is he directing you as an actress with getting the character out of you and getting those emotions out of you? Is there any room for improvisation, or is he quite strict on that?
Well, if he's like, whatever scene it is, I want your eyes open, I want your head down, take a couple steps this way, then turn, or I want you to repeat this multiple times. It's his direction. It has nothing to, like sometimes, like if you're an independent film, like I've been in my own, I can do mine a little bit more my way, but it was very precise, like verbatim his dialogue for Megan, what he wanted me to do going up the steps, or how to turn, or if I had to show disgust or not interest, or we're now building this relationship and everything like that. That is his vision of what he wanted for those scenes. I didn't understand, like a little bit, because he wasn't really sharing everything with me, because I was like, tell me everything, share with me, help me out here. Give me all the information. But he gave enough to where I had an idea, but I couldn't put all, and being new too, I couldn't put all the pieces together. I'm like, we're walking, we can only walk so far into a green screen. Walk right into, we're like Martian, like this is it, we're done. This is as far as we can go. Literally, as far as we can go. We couldn't go any further. That Kevin T that is playing the piano, he's actually in the music industry in real life. So I like that, he wasn't really doing, like he's, I thought it was great. I thought it was funny, but at the same time, I did like the storyline. Yeah, there's some issues with sizing and a little confused on who's who, because people were making comments about that, the one actress that was on the table. Oh, there's Nicole. No, that's not Nicole. that is completely somebody different. But from the side and the angle, I guess they didn't realize there was more people involved than what there was with being cast. So yeah, but I liked my friend's wings. It looked like, I think they were upside down.
Yes, the wings are upside down, aren't they?
Like, I could in time. I was like on my break thing. So I was like, I know that's not mine. I was like, are those upside down?
Well, this wasn't something I, was intending to ask because I wasn't sure if it's something you would have knowledge of, but I wondered if was that the only way they could get them on her, because I noticed that she kind of has, I think, another T-shirt kind of draped across her shoulders to, I'm presuming, to hide the straps. So is that why they're all upside down, maybe? Was it the only way they could get them on?
See, that's something you should connect with her on.
Yeah.
That was her character, so I don't know. I don't know, but Judy, she's great. We did have like a private showing too. We all watched it together. We had a private showing just for us before it came out. And it was nice to see things put together. I mean, we did a lot of laughing, and some of us didn't know. Some of us didn't know. Like there's days where I was on a set, like when we had the romantic scene, they didn't know. They had no idea that I was doing anything like that. All they showed when we were together, I was showing disgust and I was not giving them the time of day. So when they saw that, wow, they were it was loud. It was loud. I was like, I'm ready to walk out. I was like,
And how does Neil Breen kind of react to that when he's in a screening with you or at the premiere or something? If there is laughter.
I didn't look at him. I don't even know. I should have looked over there. Like, yeah, you're like this. It was only a small group of us, like 10. Can you imagine more? I'm gonna leave. And I hope he didn't disappoint. I don't think people got disappointed though. They were like, they were eating it up even more. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? He's created this cult following though that I think is everywhere. I think it's global. I think he's very I don't think he could stop making films though. I think he's going to need to make another one.
How did filming go in general then? Was it a smooth shoot or any obstacles that had to be overcome?
Just with like the green screen with the stairs were tricky. No one died on them. So that's a positive note. Like I don't know how much I'm allowed to share. Like that was tricky. The stairs were definitely tricky.
Yeah.
They weren't
so
like
literal obstacles there, literal obstacles that you had to overcome.
Yeah, I think because the stairs, the way they were like inverted, and how are you gonna walk like normally when they're slanted? It was hard. And then Neil didn't die. Obviously, I didn't die, but
with the green screen. I mean, I've asked this, I suppose, already in a roundabout way. But do you find, obviously, now going on and doing other films with real locations on real sets and stuff, just having that? Do you find that's more kind of conducive to getting a better performance, or it helps you as an actress?
I think what would help is having the script ahead of time so you can develop your character development, do your table reads, and then know what rooms I'm going in or where I'm walking, or like you can only walk so far. Like, like if they're watching and it looks and they can watch the green screen, but then I'm like, that's it. I'll go right to the wall. I'll break the wall. Like I can't, or it's littler steps, or half a step, and they're trying to center things, or with the mic and stuff like that, they had the boom mic above, so we weren't mic'd personally, but Neil Breen did it. I didn't know, like now that I know all his work and stuff, now I can look different, like, oh, good job, Neil. Because at first I was like, I don't know you, I know nothing about, I just didn't, I was too naive and inexperienced. Like I was going back off of to like when he's like, oh, you can Google me or you can look, I'm like, why? I didn't know anything about showbiz enough. Like I had no idea. But now that I look back and I did my own feature films, I give him so much respect and credit because it is freaking a lot of work. Yeah. But I can see why he just kept it to one studio, because there's no way you could do that everywhere else. Like if you're trying to hop around and you have a bigger cast, good luck. That'd even be harder.
In all honesty, you've now answered a lot of these already, but I've just got a few kind of what I kind of call minutiae questions, just silly little or tiny little questions that you might be able to shed light on. You might not, but you might be able to shed some light on. So firstly, is that Neil's lovely red Ferrari? Is that his own car, or did he hire that in?
I wasn't on set for that.
Oh, you don't know.
Don't know. There's some things that I wasn't around for the set, just like when some of the other characters, I don't know. I didn't see one when he drove up. He had a different vehicle.
The what in the cast listing is called the Lady in White, the white tiger who turns into the lady. Do we know what does that represent? What is happening there? Who is this lady, and what kind of power does she have over the over the plot of the film?
That's a good question for Neil because I didn't get to meet her. I never met her at all. I don't know who the actress is. Obviously, there's magic in all his films and miracles I don't know, like he seems like he wants to really take care of people and to believe in magic, and but I think people are distracted, not so much with the tiger. A lot of people were talking about other things. I'm like, of course that's the distraction, not the magical tiger. I was like, what's happening here?
Yes. Yes, it was. I suppose.
Focus.
Yes.
Focus on the tiger. Focus on the tiger.
Yes, I think people did tend to focus on something there. You're quite right. Yes.
Yeah. Like I'm like, let's get back to the tiger, people. I know it's sometimes distractions. Let's refocus. Refocus.
Where did you, or where do you think you and Cade went to at the end of the film? Because it's kind of maybe set up that he's going to disappear on his own. He's saying, I'll be right here. He's touching his heart. Yet you do then kind of wander off together.
He was conflicted. I think he was conflicted if he was gonna like let me go so I can go back to the hospital, or he was just gonna take me with him and I was gonna be with him forever. And at that end, he was like when we were going through it, he had like two different scenarios because he kind of switched it up. He was very conflicted with what, like, you'll always be with me here and then let me go back to the hospital. But then I think he changed his mind and brought me with him. He wanted me to be with him. Yeah.
So where are you now then? Now post Cade the Tortured Crossing, post Neil Breen, because you're producing, you're acting. What projects have you got coming up? What are you working on?
So the projects that I just recently did, like we were talking about with Sean C. Phillips, it's called Desert Fiends. You'll see the official trailer. We just got picked up. Really excited. Hopefully it'll be released at the end of December, and then I'll probably have a red carpet event for that. Skate to Hell. So Skate to Hell, Skate. It's like a skateboard. You'll see the teaser trailer on YouTube, and that was harder to put together. Got a lot of fun scenes, very creative, with this cursed skateboard that Eric Yoder put together. There's a lot going on. So we're going to be doing Desert Fiends next year. Maybe I'll see you. Maybe you can make your way out to Desert Fiends too. I have a Clown Motel 3. You have green hair, the rainbow eyes, and I'm going to go after these cowboys. That is my scene, this Clown Motel 3. His name's Joseph Kelly. He is the writer, somewhat writer and full director. And then I have with the Mahals, they make a lot of feature films. I just saw the one that I only did PA on. It was oh gosh, I can't even think anymore. What is it called? Arena Wars. Yeah, it's pretty good. Check out Arena Wars. And then we are doing Alien Horde. I have a part in it, and it'll be in October. And then I have Marriage Bites. It's a SAG feature film with Ashley Hartgrove. Check out, very cute. I love how she put it together. A lot of comedy. These are independent filmmakers. I've been on a couple SAG sets as well, but that was before I became SAG. So different transition right now.
Well, you seem to be setting yourself up as a bit of a scream queen. What is it about the horror genre which is really attracting you to it?
Well, I loved it. My first favorite film was Poltergeist. I actually got to work with Oliver Robbins. I don't know if you know him. Do you yet?
I watched Poltergeist 2 recently, coincidentally, and I noticed he was in the most recent skate film. Yeah.
Hell, and he loved it. He loved being part of it. I like the creativity. So with Sean's films, I got attacked by these mutants. It ripped out my implant, smothering me. Got to fight. And then with Skate to Hell, there's a really gross scene. And I got that scene from like Drag Me to Hell, where this the lady pukes in her mouth. Well, I wanted that to happen to me, but real. So when the one guy, his name's Zach Vasquez, he's a talent that's working with me in the scene. So Eric Yoder aimed it, the green, like shit all in my mouth, but then at the end, he poured real worms and all these bugs. And I kept my mouth open. I have a scene I can share with you. It's disgusting. All moving around, and 2 people puked on set. Their stomach turned. People came and watch it. It is so disgusting. I want more, because it's boring if we're just. Let's put a little bit more to it. So like even with Joseph Kelly's, I haven't seen the script, but I said I would like to cut off the piggy toes of the cowboys. Because I'm a playful clown. I'm like, this little piggy went to market. whatever I'm doing. And then all the way up, because it goes wee, all the way up. I want to put some terror behind the gore. And that was gross. I don't know if I could do it again though, because they're like, if I would have been done. Like I hoping it. One almost went in my ear. This girl Michelle had to get it out. I didn't think about bugs crawling in my ear. I threw off everything. Took off my shirt, threw off my wig. I ran into the dark. I was done.
We do know that Neil Breen is writing a new film at the moment. If it's the third part, maybe he's going to bring Cade back again. And if he does,
I would work with him again. Yeah. I mean, would he work with me again? I don't know. I'd be like, oh, that Nicole is too much. I like to do a lot. Like, he's very like subtle, like he's very like before he's like he thinks before he speaks. I'm just like blah 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 blah. I speak a lot and just go with my flow. Has to be going with everybody's flow. But thank you, Neil Breen, because he gave me opportunity and to scream, and I was like, I never screamed before. I'm like, I didn't know. But then I had some pipes on me. So I want to say thank you, because that was my first scream was on his set too. Yeah, people
those first steps into horror.
Just maybe there is something.
We've discussed Neil on set about how he works professionally and such. What is Neil like as a man? Because we kind of know so little about him. He kind of on that downtime, when nothing was really going on, or
soft-spoken, nice. He was easygoing. He was really like, he shared with me he was an architect, and he shared a little bit about himself. But I really thought at that time this was my last set.
Is he married? Is he a family man?
I didn't ask his personal life. I don't know. I just he never was disrespectful to me in any way. So I never got indicated like he's like not a womanizer, not like nothing like that. So very professional, very respectful.
It's clear. It's really, it's clear that you're very fond of your time on the movie. You're very fond of Neil, and that really shows.
The sandwiches, just kidding.
And the sandwiches.
I was like, and they were good. I think I had a sandwich.
So the campaign starts here, Breen Weavers. #cast Neil in film number 7. I mean me, Neil, not Neil Breen. Neil Breen will be in it, I presume. That's a given. But a Yorkshire crime boss is exactly what's missing from Breen's body of work. I could be Cruz from Twisted Pair's long-lost brother, who was sent to Leeds as a child, or Cade's new handler, a sophisticated English gentleman. Let's make it happen. A gigantic thank you to Nicole for talking to me. My first BREEN Girl, and wouldn't it be lovely if it wasn't my last? To be honest, I've cut an awful lot of me out of that chat. Nicole was very generous and often brought me into the conversation as we bounced around subjects, and she, at times, began to interview me. I thought it best to take as much of me out as possible, so the chat remained focused on Nicole. If you want to know more about Nicole, then you can see her credits on the Internet Movie Database by searching Nicole Butler. You can follow her on Facebook at Nicole Vegas and on Instagram at Nicole_Butler Vegas. As she said, she currently has several film projects coming out soon, including Desert Fiends, The Farmhouse Murders, Clown Motel 3, Marriage Bites, Skate to Hell, and Mistletoe Massacre. That's the end of our second episode of My Scene with Breen. The aim is to release these episodes monthly, and currently we have several interviews lined up and some already recorded. So please subscribe, share, rate. I'd be so appreciative if you could do that, because all those things really, really do help. Next episode, we'll have something a little different, as I'm joined by a special non-Breen related guest as we take a deep dive into Neil Breen's cinematic debut, Double Down. I'll finish just by saying, if you're one of the many people I've contacted, if you've worked with Neil Breen, if you're listening right now, please get in contact, as I'd love to speak with you. I can be reached at bitemythumbtv@hotmail.com. Okay, I'm going to go pretend to break into my girlfriend's home and violently assault her as part of a romantic roleplay. It really is the key to a successful relationship. Until next time, Breen Weavers.
You've been listening to My Scene with Breen, a Neil Breen podcast and a Bite My Thumb production. Your host was Neil Knight. Bite My Thumb can be followed on Twitter or X at Bite My Thumb, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bite My Thumb, on YouTube at bitemythumbtv, or on Letterboxd at Bite My Thumb. All music was written and created by Kotz Plays. He can be followed on Twitch at twitch.tv/Kotz Plays, where every Saturday morning at 12 p.m. he'll be making live music. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and rate this episode.